Hey students, this is lesson 7.4. We're going to deal with some more multiplication properties of exponents. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to raise a product to a power and raise a power to a power. So go ahead and do the review here, and I'll check back with you. All right, here's our properties. You can use repeated multiplication to simplify a power raised to a power. And this first example just shows the reasoning behind what we're doing here. But basically the idea is if you raise a power to a power, like we're doing here, you multiply those powers. All right, so go ahead and do 7, 8, 9, and 10, and you can check back and see if you did them right. All right, so what is the simplified form of b to the third raised to the fifth? And we're going to say that this is not simplified because of the parentheses there. We want to get rid of those and write it with a single base of b. And I'll show this with the reasoning behind it so you can see this 5 here tells you to multiply this base b to the third by itself 5 times. So what we're really talking about is this. And so now we can just add up how many factors of b we have here, and that's 15. But the shortcut here would be that you might notice that 15 is the same as 3 times 5. So we can just do b to the 3 times 5 when we're raising a power to a power, which is b to the 15th. All right, go ahead, you try that. All right, so we're going to kind of combine two of the properties together here. We're going to simplify the power to a power first. So we're going to write h to the negative second, and then if we raise 4 to the negative third, we need to multiply those. So we are going to do h to the 4 times negative 3, which is the same as h to the negative 12. Now we have the same base, so the property there is we just add the exponents. So do negative 2 plus negative 12, and that gives us h to the negative 14. Now, to be completely simplified, we can't have a negative, and the way we get rid of that is by h to the negative 14th, remember, is the reciprocal of h to the 14th. So it's 1 over h to the 14th. All right, you try that? All right, another property we have is raising a power to a power. When you do that, all you do is you raise every factor inside that makes up that product to that power. So look at the example here. We have 3x multiplied by itself 4 times. If I was to expand that, I would have this 3x times 3x times 3x times 3x. And notice that we have 3 factors of 4. 4 factors of 3, and that's 81. And then we also have 4 factors of x. So every factor in that product gets raised to that power. All right, so we can simplify an expression that might have to do with that. We want to find the area of the square. To find the area of a square, you multiply length times width because it's a rectangle. So area is length times width. But with a square, both sides are the same, so we can just say area equals the side times itself, or the side squared. And the side here is 4x to the 5th, and we're going to square that. Now, to do that, we need to multiply every factor, raise every factor inside that parentheses to that second power. So we have to do 4 to the second, and we also have to do x to the 5th to the second. 4 to the second is 16, and x to the 5th to the second. When you do a power to a power, you multiply those numbers. 5 times 2 is 10. So the answer is 16 x to the 10th. Go ahead and do the next problem, and I'll check back with you. All right, so we're going to learn how to simplify an expression with products here. So we have a lot of multiplication to do here, and then we're going to use all the rules. So we're multiplying b to the 6. We need 3 factors of that. So let's start by using the power to a power property and multiply 6 times 3. That makes 18. And then in the second product, we need to raise every factor in there to the second power. So we have to do 8 to the second, a to the second, and b to the negative 4 to the second. And then I'm going to simplify the b to the negative 4 to the second, and that I'm going to do by multiplying negative 4 times 2 is negative b. Okay. Now, wherever you have the same base, you can add the exponents. So the 18 and the negative 8 makes b to the 10th. A to the second has nothing that I can change about that. And 8 to the second, those are, that number can be written in standard form since it's not a variable. So that will be 64. All right, you try that. Okay, sometimes we're going to have numbers in scientific notation and we'll need to raise them power. We can use the same rules. So here we have the volume of the sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed, where r is the radius. What is the volume of a sphere with the radius of 10 to the second millimeters? Give your answer in terms of pi. So the radius is 10 to the second. So we're just going to plug that into the formula for r. So we're going to get 4/3 times pi. And I'm going to put in parentheses 10 to the second. We'll just leave it like that and deal with it that way. And then that has to be to the third. When it says in terms of pi, that means we're not going to multiply by 3.14. We're just going to leave the number pi there. So we have to do 10 to the third, to the second, to the third power. That's a power to power, so those would be multiplied. So it's times 10 to the 6th power. And we want to leave that in terms of pi. We can go ahead and write that as a standard number now. And that number is 1 million. 1 million times 4 is 4 million. So let's write 4 million. And we still have divided by 3. And then times pi. And I think I'm going to leave my answer that way. It really can't be simplified anymore. 4,000. 3 doesn't go into 4 million evenly. So, so we'll just leave it like that. So we don't have to write it as a decimal. Go ahead and try number 5. All right, that's it for this lesson. Go ahead and do the lesson check, and we'll talk about it next time we meet in class.